Hey friends, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So I want to have a chat with you guys about business and how to think about them. And we're going to use the example of robotaxis because I know it's sort of a fun topic to talk about. And the question I pose to you is, what problem or problems do robotaxis solve? And I want to make sure we understand that this discussion is not just robotaxis alone, it's multiple businesses, because I think when you think about what you want to invest in, or in this situation, Tesla, are they solving a problem that people really need solving and people are willing to pay money for to get their problem solved? So let me give you an example. So with the robotaxi thing, I think the bulls like to say, okay, robotaxis might solve traffic problems, robotaxis might solve, safety problems, maybe, less accidents. Robotaxis might solve cost problems, right? Robotaxis might free up your time. I'm just saying these are the arguments that people make. I think what else? The arguments that robotaxis are cool. That's not really a problem though. But the point being is that when I hand my money over to someone or a company, I want them to solve my problem. The issue with the robotaxis is, honestly guys, I don't think it's really that revolutionary, nor does it solve any real problems. And now let me explain by this. So again, I told you, when you invest in business, invest in a company, you want to invest in something that they're solving a problem that people need or people want to have solved. So let's say my problem is I spend too much time in the car. I spend too much time, say, commuting to my job. That's a legitimate problem, right? So can I find a way to cut down time on commute? So one would be work from home, the whole Zoom stuff, right? So in that regard, people are like, okay, hey, I'm totally going to invest in Zoom because that's the future. People don't want to drive anymore, right? And that would actually hurt the auto companies. And in fact, Elon Musk is really against work from home because he's trying to sell you a car, right? So he doesn't want to solve that problem. He wants to keep you driving. The other argument you would make is, okay, theoretically, maybe robotaxis, I say theoretically maybe robotaxis are going to help with, pollution, right? I guess that's the argument. The issue is, as we talked about, and it was kind of ridiculous, it was one of the king pumpers was like, oh, we're going to have two-seater cars and robotaxis are awesome. And I guess that's going to be less cars on the road somehow. When I'm thinking to myself, no, I think that's going to be more cars on the road. Like how are you solving pollution by putting all these like robotaxi things on the road? Because the counter that I would make is like, okay, if you're really serious about pollution, right, or really serious about safety, you would want to figure out a system in a way to get people in mass transit, or get people walking, get people bicycling, right? So for example, I walk every day. I'm out for a walk this morning. I live in Busan, you can see where we live. And why am I showing you this, or why do I walk in Busan? Because it's a walkable city. There are other ways of life other than, life for many people who watch the channel or in USA where you drive a car. And I understand that. I get that. I used to live in USA. I grew up there. I totally get it. But I can tell you, even in USA, there are some cities that are very walkable. There are some cities that you can ride a bike in. There's some cities that are really conducive to getting cars off the road because you don't need that lifestyle, okay? Because I want you guys to think well beyond of oh yes, Elon Musk is developing robots to drive my car and that's going to be a big revolution. I want to tell you about real revolutions, real changes in human life, real changes in society. For example, someone's like, okay, what if we can figure out a way to make it that our food and our entertainment and our work and all the places we need to go are close to our living spaces? Because that would solve, again, a key core problem is my commute times are too long, right? I don't want to spend that much time in the car. My commute time is too long. Can you solve that problem? Will the robotaxi solve the problem of my commute times being too long? No, I don't think so. I think it's going to put more cars on the road, which we don't want or need. Will the robotaxi solve safety issues? No, I don't think so. Will the robotaxi and Tesla be like Apple iPhone? No, I don't think so. Why? And I'll tell you why. So the Apple iPhone, and it's just, we'll start with Apple, but it applies to any of the mobile devices. What problem did it ultimately solve? Well, back when I was a kid, I'm 49, you guys may not know, we had those rotary phones, and you would dial it would hang on the wall, and when you were gone from home too, you would also have answer machines. That was the whole thing. And for those of you who are too young, you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. It was like a device that would record an incoming call on a tape, and then when they went digital, it was like, oh my God. But it's kind of funny when you think about these old technologies. But having an actual phone on your person at all times was like Star Trek, right? It was a Star Trek thing. You could tap now I can literally tap my pocket, tap my shirt or whatever, and you can talk to someone anywhere in the world. And so that's where or something like an Apple or these mobile device companies, they're never going to go out of business, because they do actually address a problem that we have, is how can I communicate with someone anywhere in the world, wherever I am, right? Be it on the beach, be it walking around right now, like right now I'm communicating with you, etc. That's a problem that needs to be solved, right? Here's another example. So let's say the Tesla boys and fanboys and fangirls say, oh, the Tesla's going to solve the environmental problems, stuff like that. Guys, I don't disagree. I care about the environment. I care about the quality of the air. I care about the quality of the water, these kind of things. I'm not against electric vehicles at all. I think some of the, I'm for them actually, to be perfectly frank, but I do acknowledge, because I'm not an idiot, and sometimes people don't make this, honest conversation about this stuff. I do acknowledge, like, it does matter how you power the electric vehicles. Like, if you're on an electric grid and your power is coming from, dirty energy, right? Yes, it is electricity, but it's not like clean as you claim it is, right? Or if the materials required to build said car is coming from, dirty sources, or countries or places where they don't treat people very well, you're not really solving any problems there. You're creating other kinds of problems. I understand that these kind of conversations are difficult for people, because they just think, oh, well, Elon Musk is the greatest guy in the human history, right? And that Sandy Moreau guy actually even said that, which is kind of crazy. What I try to do, because someone will say, what's the point of this channel? Guys, I was a professor for about 10 years. After that, I actually worked in real estate, in luxury hotel design. I worked in the film industry. I took several business meetings. I've met people from all around the world. I live in multiple countries. And the reason why I mention this stuff is because when you work with a lot of different kinds of people, you'll realize business is all about solving someone else's problem. What problem do they have? How can you solve it? Can you do it at a reasonable cost? The other issue, like for example, and say, oh, Tesla's revolutionized the world. Elon Musk's so awesome. If that were the case, guys, he would be like trying to develop technology that would be available to everyone. I usually go back to the example of, okay, we use Windows at this time. Well, I think Windows is a good example. So am I a fan of Windows? Not really. But Windows is at least easier to use than something like a Linux, right? At least when I was a kid. Maybe today, and you guys can argue that Linux or Ubuntu or whatever is much better than it was, before. But for the average consumer, Windows is easier to use, right? And again, you can fight me on that one, it's fine. But point being though is, like, can we create some sort of interface or something to where average person can use a computer? And that's the problem that they solved, right? They sort of made a standardized operating system for everyone to use. And so what I questioned with you guys, and I just want you to, just a fundamental question for any business that you invest in, any business that you evaluate, is what fundamental problem do they solve? Is it a problem that people really have? Is it a problem that people are willing to pay money for? Here's another one. I'll give you an example. So if Robotaxi is going to, theoretically solve cost, I doubt that. The Farzad guy, and we were making fun of him on the channel because the guy's an idiot, let's just face it. But he was like, oh yeah, Robotaxis are going to be cheaper than buses. I was like, have you even been on a bus? Have you even been on a subway? It's a serious question. Here in Busan, guys, I live in Busan. Actually, I'll walk over to the subway stop. We'll head over that way. It's right over here. Here on the subway is like, when you convert it, I think it's $1.25, I think is what it is. One way, anywhere in the city. And I can do like an hour long trip or hour and a half. I think that's probably the farthest it would go. So, I don't, it's not hard to figure out. There's no possible way you could ever get an Uber or Robotaxi or car trip to go like an hour and a half anywhere in USA, right? I'm not talking about mass transit. I'm talking about just, a vehicle, a car for like $1, even $2, even $3. It's not happening. You guys know this, like a short 5-minute trip in USA, like on an Uber's like $5. Let's say Robotaxi comes in cheaper than that at $4. I mean, it's not gonna be cheaper than a bus or a subway. The other issue as well is like, are you ever gonna actually get the technology to a state to where it would be cheaper than Uber? Because you're always gonna have competition with that. And if you do make it cheaper, you're not gonna make any profit on said thing. It's a loser. The Robotaxi is a loser. Please prove me wrong, guys. Fight me. Prove me wrong. The fundamental question I ask you is, what problem does it solve that people are actually going to be willing to pay money for? I was reading some of the bull posts. I'm like, oh yeah, people who have Teslas, it's going to be like 20% take rate, meaning that like 20% of the people who have these Teslas are going to want to spend an extra $10,000 or $12,000 or whatever to get that FSD. I don't think so. If you love your car so much, and I know many people who are Teslables love their car, which is cool. If you love your car, I got no problem with that. You can love your car all day long, love your car at night, love your car in the morning, love your car. by definition, wouldn't that mean you enjoy driving your car? Some people like to drive their car, and I do. When I drive, because I don't drive all the time, but I do drive. I know how to drive. I grew up in USA. But I like to drive, I think it's called 101, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I used to live in LA. But you would drive from Long Beach up to Malibu, kind of that drive. Or if you want to go all the way north, go up to San Francisco. Just the whole, or Pacific, is it Pacific 101? I think that's what it's called. But it's not just that, it's anywhere. Like, everyone has that sort of, like, if you drive, you have that sort of route that you like to take. You're on your way home. Oh no, this is the subway. Actually, I got to go back this way. I was going to show you guys, like, and that goes back to my other point is, if you're really concerned because someone wrote, "Oh, Chris, you're so dumb. Elon Musk is solving transportation." It's like, guys, if that were true, if he was really interested in that stuff, you'd be thinking about, okay, how can we design and build sustainable cities that are conducive to people not having to commute so far, that are affordable, right, for people? Because I would say that is a problem that needs to be solved, is just cost of living. How can you design cities to where it encourages people to do mass transit? How can you design cities that encourages people to exercise? Yeah, and I get it, guys. I get it. If you've never been in city planning or met government officials, have never thought about these kind of things, if your whole world is like, I'm going to drive a car lifestyle and car culture is the only car that exists in the whole world, you have no idea what I'm talking about, right? But for those of you who have traveled, you'll know that there is a huge world out there. We have people in this community, and I'll use examples of the Netherlands because I've never been there, but I've seen pictures and I have friends who've been to the Netherlands. I'll use the Netherlands as an example. But I guess it's like really bicycle friendly. They got bridges everywhere and rivers, etc. I'm going down the subway right now. I'm in Busan. But I want you guys to see. For those of you who've watched my channel before, you've seen the subway station here before. I'm in the financial district. But don't just think that this particular subway station is unusual. Here in Busan, all the subway stations are like this. They're clean, they're well maintained, they're affordable. And this goes back to another point where remember the bulls like to tell everyone that Elon Musk is the greatest genius of all time. He was trying to make the case the other day that, this is Musk, that private business should run everything. And it just shows like kind of where his thought process is, right? He wants to sell you cars. The truth of the matter is, no, private business is not good for everything. Use the example of, we'll say hospitals or mass transit, these kind of things. Sometimes you want to provide a service to the average person at an affordable cost and not be so concentrated on profit, right? Like, for example, here in Korea, I think it's if you're over 65, I want to say, it's free to ride on the subway. That is a major benefit for elderly people, right? So I'm on the subway here. I'm not going to go in, but I'll just show you guys. This is the subway. You guys can see how clean it is. And I get it. I get it more than you know. I used to live in New York City. Subways in New York City are horribly maintained. They're way more expensive than they are here. This is the subway in Busan. It's clean. And there's some people coming off the subway. So we'll turn around here. But yeah, in New York City, they're horribly maintained. You can see behind me. There's people coming off. It's expensive, and the technology is no good. Actually, I'll turn around. You guys can see this. So as people will scan, turn on here. Yeah, they're tapping their cards in there, and they're going to scan, right? And this is all digital. So we just have like a digital card here. Actually, you can see it right there. Yeah, that's like a digital card right there. Then you can scan a card thing. Let's go turn around camera around here. Yeah, in New York City and stuff like that, I think they're still using tokens even, because they invest here. We're investing in electric buses here. I'm not sure if the subways are electric per se. I just don't know. But the point being is there's another lifestyle, and the thing I want you guys to be thinking about is, like, if you really seriously, think that Musk is revolutionary, ask yourself all the questions I posed to you. How do we design our cities? What does he say about mass transit? Why isn't he pushing for that? Why do we want to put more cars on the road? I'll give you another example of something that you guys probably never even thought about, just because there's a whole other life over here, and I just want to tell you about other ways of thinking. Here in Korea, actually, if you go out drinking, and say you drive to the bar and then you drink a whole bunch, we actually have a really common service a lot of people use, is you call it, and you actually call the driver, and the driver comes and drives you home in your car. So you're not out drinking and driving, because drinking and driving laws here are very, very severe. Now, the other issue is too with the whole robot stuff. I'm not against technology. If you can figure out a way for a robot to drive a car, so be it. More power to you. No problem. But I'm not going to pretend like it's just some life-changing thing. My goal in life is not to be in a car, an hour every day. Is that your goal in life? I'll pose that to you. Do you want to be in a car ride every hour every day? No. I want to figure out if you really want true revolution. So, on that argument, you could make the case that Meta and Mark Zuckerberg and all those guys over there, or people over there, I should say, it's not just guys, but men and women, are working on, putting on the goggles, and you're going to do work from home, and you're going to have like these, VR meetings and stuff like that. Theoretically, that could be an actual revolution. Do I believe in that one? Not necessarily, but theoretically, sure, why not? I would totally agree that if it did work and the technology got to be that place, that would actually be a revolution. There's multiple things we can talk about with business, but again, for anything you invest in, ask yourself the core question: do they solve a problem that people want to pay money for, and is it a problem that people actually want and need? The whole situation with Robotaxi, it's just not a problem that we, really need to solve. And moreover, he's not really, focused on bringing mass devices to lots of people in the world. He's focusing on, middle class and upper middle class customers. So if you guys disagree with anything I say, please let me know. Please tell me how stupid I am. The bulls like to do that all the time. But I'm trying to tell you guys the truth on these things. So thank you for your time, everyone. I appreciate everyone's thoughts on this. I'll catch you all next video.